If it's Monday night, oh yes, it is the Wrestling Forum. Hello, friends. It is Ridiculously Over Anthony Florio sitting in tonight for the Hardcore Pipe Bomb, Derek Ferrera once again. And I'm joined, as always, by my partners in crime, the Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher, and the Phenom, Michael Bullock. Big night tonight, indeed. Another newsworthy edition of Monday Night Raw, as the card for Night of Champions has just taken major shape, if I do say so myself. So, oh yes, then we had the Icon, we had a Beat the Clock challenge for the first time with the Divas, and a whole lot more. So with that said, gentlemen, let's get right into it. Monday Night Raw live tonight from the Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida, and let's get right into it. We started it off an in-ring segment with a promo by Sting, and Sting, basically, went after Seth Rollins, saying, "Seth Rollins, you're not half the man as Triple H was, and that at Night of Champions, I'm gonna beat you and take the one thing that has eluded me in my Hall of Fame caliber career, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship." I do have to correct myself from last week. I said that Sting was a 12-time world champion. I am corrected on that. He's actually a 14-time world champion. I forgot his 2 reigns as WCW International World Heavyweight Champion. So that actually does count. So in addition to all the other belts he won, in the NWA, WCW, TNA, they total 14. So there you go. So all in all, a short and sweet segment, not your typical 20-minute long, drawn-out monologue, a la The Authority and Seth Rollins and whatever. But this was definitely, one of the segments of the night. I'm not going to say it was the segment of the night. No, we'll get into that much later on. But it's definitely, to me, one of the segments of the night. Sting, doing his thing, like I said, short and sweet. And at Night of Champions, the Stinger goes up against Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And Michael Fletcher, since you were not with us last week because of your illness, I'd really like to get your early thoughts on that match, because Mr. Bullock and I already gave our early thoughts on it last week. So when we get to you, I'd really like to get your early thoughts on Sting and Seth Rollins. Couldn't be with us last week, so if you could do that, that'd be great. So for me, it was a very good segment here, and then of course you saw the backstage segment with Seth Rollins and Stephanie McMahon, and little interesting on that too. So all in all, a very good segment. It's one of the segments of the night. I probably would say second best segment of the night, if I'm being quite honest with you. So short and sweet and to the point. That's all I can say on that. So with that said, I'm going to throw it up to my partner in crime, the Yes Movement, the one and only Mr. Michael Bullock. Hey, long time no see, Mr. Bullock.
Hey, long time no see, Anthony Florio. Yes, hello friends. This is the Phenom and the Vice President of the Rhode Island chapter of the Yes Movement, Mike Bullock here for another edition of the Wrestling Forum. Delighted to be here as always. Yeah, I mean, this was a good segment to start off Monday Night Raw. Sting basically making it short and sweet and to the point, basically saying, well, Seth Rollins, you're not half the man that Triple H is, because you're nothing more than a boy, and I'm going to go after you and the one title that has eluded me my entire career, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And basically, you've basically been lucking out with all your success. I mean, cashing in your Money in the Bank, barely escaping Suplex City. I can go on and on. And yeah, so yeah, definitely a very short and sweet promo by us, by the Vigilante, the Icon, Sting. Yeah, so definitely looking forward to this title match at Night of Champions. So yeah, so really got nothing more to say, except I'm gonna toss it off to our resident Viper, Mr. Michael Fletcher, for his thoughts on this opening segment. So Fletch, I give it to you, and of course, give us your thoughts on the match at Night of Champions.
You know what? I'm gonna save my thoughts for Night of Champions later in the night. I'm not gonna give you it right now. what I will give you is this. This was a very solid segment. This was a very good segment by Sting. I liked what he did. I liked how the comparison about, when I faced Triple H was a man, you're just a boy. And I love how he's digging into Seth Rollins. And look at what he did after that. How he got really pissed off, got into Stephanie, and even Stephanie agreed with Sting about, especially when it came to Triple H, because that's her husband. She's not going to say nothing bad. And Ron's like, wait a minute, I thought you were on my side. Sting is putting the cracks in the foundation of the Authority. That's what that was. He's letting Seth Rollins, big Mr. High Almighty, think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's getting brought down to reality, and now he's starting to see the true colors of the Authority and of Stephanie McMahon. She did something a little bit later on that we're going to talk about that really twisted the knife and got me thinking, uh-oh. We'll get into that a little bit later tonight. But I'll agree. Solid segment. I liked it. It was good. Let's move on.
All right, and we're going to move on to our first match of the night. The first of not one, but two SummerSlam rematches. This one involved Dolph Ziggler with the Ravishing Russian Lana against Rusev with Summer Rae. Winner of the match via disqualification in 14 minutes and 20 seconds. It was Dolph Ziggler due to outside interference by Summer Rae. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this match?
All right, I'm going to give this about a solid 2.5 stars. I mean, I thought this was a good match for what it was. I mean, it was, once again, just like what we talked about at SummerSlam, it was getting so good until, unfortunately, we had Summer Rae basically coming in and causing the disqualification, and of course Lana basically coming in, and we had ourselves a good old cat fight between the two ladies, and yeah, and but like I said, the match was fine, the action was good, but it's just that finish that really, really upset me. But then, as we saw throughout the show, well, basically, well, Dolph Ziggler did an interview with Renee Young, and then just as he basically went into the locker room, and then later on, Summer Rae all of a sudden snuck right in, and then later on again, she basically ran out, and Dolph Ziggler basically all he had was a towel wrapped around him, and then of course Lana basically saw it all, and she was not too pleased about it. And of course, this upcoming Thursday night, we're gonna see what happens when the Miz hosts his Miz TV with Dolph Ziggler and Lana. So, although I still get this feeling I think we're gonna get some kind of match at Night of Champions, which will be a mixed tag team match. But we'll have to wait and see how it goes. So, 2.5 stars is my rating on the match. So, Fletcher, I give it to you.
I agree with that. I could say 2 3/4 of a star for the fight. I thought it was a solid fight. I thought it was a good match. Dolph Ziggler got himself into the doghouse, boys, and I mean he is in deep trouble for what he did this time around. Look, I think Summer Rae might be leading this a little bit on. I want to say Ziggler, it sounds pretty innocent here, but the way that Summer Rae describes Ziggler, I think Zigzag Boy is definitely in the doghouse tonight with Lana. And trust me, the Ravishing Russian has been very loyal to him and very cool up to this point. And it sounds like either it's definitely Summer Rae is really stirring the pot, and it looks like there might be an implosion in the midst that could really boil over. But I mean, right now it's kind of a bad situation for Dolph Ziggler. Look, the fight was solid. The fight was good. Everything else was unique. And I actually cannot believe WWE went this route. And because you know this is PG era. This is very PG, and this is supposed to be PG era. But Ziggler in a towel looked a little, I mean, definitely Ziggler in a towel, Summer Rae running off, the whole 9 yards. It's very non-PG like, and the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, where are you going with this, guys? Where's this storyline going? I'm a little like I don't want to say I'm confused. I'm like, what's the direction? Where are you going with this, guys? I thought this is supposed to be PG rated, and you're kind of taking it to kind of places where maybe we should not be going. That's all I'm saying about that. The fight itself, I don't know. I kind of feel like it was good. But this time I got a lot more time. 14 minutes. I think to get more than 14 minutes is well enough. Normally this would be a 3-star fight, but the finish itself knocks it down to maybe two and a half, 2 3/4. But I don't know. I'm really worried about the storyline, and that's the thing I'm more worried about. The fight was good, but the extracurricular, the stuff that they were doing throughout the night, I'm kind of getting a little worried. Like something, I don't know. I don't think it's suitable for me. I don't know. But that's just my opinion. Florio, what's yours?
I think I could say I'm befuddled too with the whole thing, especially since this is the PG era.
If they're trying to stray a little bit away, I mean, I get that.
But if they're going down a lot further than that, then
but right now, the way that it's being played out, I hope tonight was just that night where, okay, it's Raw, so you got to push it a little bit. But if they start digging it deeper and going down a road that to Uncomfortableville, I don't want to be there. And that's all I'm saying about that.
Go ahead. Same here.
Go ahead, Florio. What's yours?
All right. The match was 2.5 stars. I definitely agree with Michael Bullock's rating on that. We agreed on that. That was a solid 2.5-star match. Unfortunately, we had another cop-out finish with the DQ this time around. But it was definitely some good action throughout, some good near falls in that one, and yeah, that whole angle there. If only Mimi Jean was still around, guys. If only it was still around, we could have had a lot of fun with this.
I was just gonna say that. If Mimi Jean was still around, where was that? That's not PG, Mimi. That would be going off like crazy tonight.
It'd be like wildfire, man. No doubt about that. And yeah, that was definitely not PG. This angle tonight. And we'll find out where it goes because it was announced that Thursday night on SmackDown, we're going to have a Miz TV segment with special guests Dolph Ziggler and Lana. So that's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of that angle on Thursday night when SmackDown comes to Miami in the American Airlines Arena. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But nonetheless, Michael Fletcher, you made some great points. I mean, let's just hope that that we're not going to be on a one-way ticket to Uncomfortableville. I mean, wow, how about this? I mean, we got another new city here tonight. I mean, first there was Suplex City with Brock Lesnar, Tombstone City with The Undertaker, and now, courtesy of Michael Fletcher, we now have a new town, folks, called Uncomfortableville. And let's just hope we're not on a first-class ticket to that town, because that's a town we do not want any part of.
Yeah, if we're on a ticket to Uncomfortableville, then this is one I certainly do not want to be on.
Oh yeah, amen to that. So definitely be very intrigued to see where this goes. But we don't have to wait long, guys, because remember, 24 hours from now, the SmackDown spoilers will be out. So we'll have to wait and see how this all goes down. So.
Yeah, it'll be definitely be interesting to see those spoilers come tomorrow. And when I do read it, and if it goes down a path that's really towards Uncomfortableville, like I said, I do not want to be a part of it at all.
No, indeed not. And
that would be headed down towards TV 14ville.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it on that. So, okay. Moving on, we had for the first time ever, we had ourselves a beat the clock challenge with the Divas. We've seen it numerous times with the men, but they've never done it with the Divas before. It featured all three members of Team PCB, Paige, Charlotte, Becky Lynch. Whichever Diva won their match in the fastest amount of time earns the right to face Nikki Bella for the Divas Championship on September 20th in Houston, Texas at the Toyota Center for the Night of Champions. So we started it off with the fiery redhead from Dublin, Ireland, Becky Lynch, the last kicker. She went one-on-one with Team Bella member Alicia Fox. I don't need no notes for this one. We already know what the time of the fall on this one was. It was 3 minutes and 21 seconds. Winner of the match was Becky Lynch. Michael Fletcher, your thoughts on the last kicker and A Fox?
Very fast time. I mean, normally in the life of the Beat the Clock challenge, you guys know this would always be about maybe 9 minutes, 10 minutes, 11 minutes, 12 minutes, and there's always somebody that beats it later in the night. 3:21, that's almost Roadrunner me fast, to say the very least, man. I mean, that was remarkable, and hats off to Becky Lynch for doing that. The fight itself, I mean, I'll give it maybe 1 star, 1.5, to say the very least. I mean, yeah, sure for my liking, but I mean, to be the pace setter and to finish it at that much of a time frame, wow. I'm very impressed with the last kicker, and I mean, good job, Becky. I mean, you know, and there's always that thing about give divas a chance and everything else, the Diva Revolution, and, you know, I mean, we've been very skeptical. Well, we were very excited about it, but then all of a sudden, especially in the last few weeks, people have been getting very skeptical about it too. Now here we are with with this Beat the Clock challenge, and 3:21. Ooh, I mean, that is a very fast time, very impressive time too. I mean, to finish a fight that quickly, but then again, it's the Divas, so I mean, you're not going to expect much. I was expecting somewhere around, I'll be honest, I thought this was going to be about maybe a 5-6 minute fight, not 3:21. So I was definitely surprised with that outcome. Like I said, 1.5, just for the effort alone. But we'll go from there. So Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, 1 to 1.5 stars. And I got to say, of the three Diva Beat the Clock challenge matches, I have to say this was the best of the three, to be honest with you. I mean, because the action throughout was very good, even though it was way too short for our liking. And I told Bullock this earlier, and I know he'll reiterate it when I get to him. I always dread Beat the Clock challenges. Whenever Beat the Clock challenges happen, it guarantees a lot of these matches are going to be, you know, right around 1.5 at the absolute best, maybe even teetering on dud status, for God's sakes. I mean, but no, Becky Lynch definitely set the pace very well. Would that time be enough? Will it be enough for the fiery redhead from Dublin, Ireland, to be the next in line to face Nikki Bella for the Divas title at the Night of Champions? Wait and find out, because we got 2 more matches to come, featuring Charlotte and Paige. So we'll let you know how those fights go in just a little bit. But for now, it's a 1 to 1.5 star fight. So, Mr. Bullock, how do we feel about this match?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it unanimous, 1 to 1.5 stars. I mean, the match was fine for what it was, but it was just way too short for my liking, and I do agree with Anthony Florio on what he said. I mean, these Beat the Clock challenges, I mean, I dread at times because sometimes we don't get these long matches that we like on a Monday Night Raw. I mean, sometimes they'll last long. Like I was thinking more like maybe 5, maybe I know maybe it's too long, maybe 10 minutes. I mean, I would have been fine with that, but for that to only be an over 3 minute match, I mean, that's the thing I dread. But the thing is, when it comes to these beat the clock challenges, you want to set the pace and for the rest of the field later on. So, and Becky Lynch really set a really good pace with over 3 minutes. So, yeah. So, is she the number one contender for the Divas title? We're gonna have to wait and find out as we continue on through this review. So, because we got 2 more matches in this beat the clock challenge. So, 1 to 1.5 stars. I do agree this was the best of the beat the clock challenges. So, with that being said, Florio, let's basically move on.
Okay, and moving on, our next match is for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. It was the Big Show, the world's largest athlete, challenging, gentlemen, you know what time it is. It's Ryback time. Let's have it. Be
More.
Come on.
Be more.
Come on.
Be me more.
Done.
Finish it.
Wake up. It's feeding time.
It's feeding time.
Indeed it was, boys. Winner of the match, and still the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, Ryback, after a shell shock, time of the fall, 7 minutes and 20 seconds. I'm going to tell you what. I'm glad that I get to lead off on this one. I'm going to tell you why. Sleeper fight of the night right here, folks. Sleeper fight of the night, keyword. We thought this fight was going to be a cluster bleep, a train wreck, a slow and boring snoozer fight. No, this was not a snoozer at all. This one actually held our interest for the entire 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Solid 2.5 stars. I got to be quite honest with you. Solid 2.5 stars. There was actually some very good action throughout, some good falls, and some nice back and forth near falls down the stretch. And the only problem I had was, that slight little distraction by Miz on Big Show, which led to Ryback scoring the shell shock on the Big Show. So, nonetheless, though, I mean, a much better match than I expected. To me, this reminded me a lot of the match I saw at last week's taping when I went to the taping in Providence last week. I told you about a match with Stardust and Fandango, which they taped for main event. I thought that fight was going to suck, but that fight ended up being the sleeper fight of the night of that show in a solid 3-star match. I can't believe I'm still saying that, but it's true. I mean, for those of you who have the network, when it airs when that show airs on the network, whenever it does, I strongly suggest you check that fight out. You're going to be pleasantly just as surprised as I was. So, and you'll be just as surprised with this fight too. I know when you hear Ryback and Big Show, IC belt, butts in the seats, demise on the screens. Yeah, right. But no, it actually did its job. It actually put the butts in the seats, and it actually not only did it put eyes on the screens, it kept eyes on the screens, and it also kept people from changing the channel too. That's also what people do when you hear Ryback and Big Show. But I bet those who did change the channel, I bet they're saying, oh, "Damn, that fight was actually good. I actually missed a good match with those two." Yeah, you did. You did. And I bet you're kicking yourself now, aren't you? Where do we go from here? I don't know. Ryback needs a dance partner for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship at the Night of Champions. He just knocked off the Big Show. Could The Miz be next? Very possible. I don't know. But we're going to have to wait and see what Creative has to say about that. So, still got a couple weeks to go until the Night of Champions in Houston. So that's all I can say on that. So, solid 2.5 stars and the sleeper fight of the night. Well done, gentlemen. Well done. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this Intercontinental Heavyweight title match? Very surprising.
Yeah, it definitely was, and I do agree. I mean, it was a 2.5-star match. I mean, yeah, I mean, going into this, I thought this was going to be a slow and boring and sleepy match that really, and I was thinking, like, you really think that match was going to put some butts in the seats and eyes on the screen? Well, I would have said, yeah, it's gonna put some butts in the seats, all right, the toilet seats, heyo. But no, this wasn't it, and we had some there was some good action here, and there was a little bit of a Shakespearean drama when it comes to this. But the only thing, and I do agree with Florio on this, is was the Miz basically interfering. So I mean, that's the only thing I didn't like about the match. But other than that, I mean, I was surprised with the way this match turned out to be. So yeah, I mean, where do we go from here? And like you said, Ryback needs an opponent for the Intercontinental Championship. Could it be The Miz? Could it be someone else that we didn't quite expect? I don't know. But definitely a 2.5-star match and the sleeper fight of the night. So, with that being said, Fletcher, I give it to you.
Sleeper fight of the night, yes. Two stars, yes. I mean, it was good for what it was worth. I think we all were pleasantly surprised with the way that the fight turned out. I mean, could have it been a little better? Yeah. Did we really need The Miz at all on commentary or interfering? Absolutely not. I'm not going to go much about that. But other than that, everybody talks about, oh, who's going to be the next contender for Ryback right now. Let's give it some time, you know. There's still some time left. We still got a long way before we get to the pay-per-view. And, of course, we're going to see who is going to be that team, or that man who's going to get a shot at the Intercontinental Heavyweight title. So, I mean, we just got to wait and see how this plays out, you know, one day at a time. So, we'll see what happens. Maybe we might get a breakthrough on SmackDown from Miami. Check the spoilers tomorrow. Or if anything, we'll just have to wait for next week on Monday Night Raw, and then we'll go from there. So, I mean, solid fight, sleeper fight of the night, yes. Let's move on, gentlemen.
All right, and we move on to the second of the 3 Divas Beat the Clock Challenge matches. Team PCB member Charlotte Flair goes one-on-one with Brie Bella, and the winner of the match, in 1 minute and 40 seconds, Charlotte Flair. Michael Bullock, your thoughts? Hell yeah.
Woo! As far as this match goes, I can't believe I'm actually going to be saying this, but you know what? I'm gonna be I know I have every right to call this match a dud, but I'm just gonna be a little generous, and I'm gonna say a quarter to maybe a half a star when it comes to this. I mean, it was just way too short, but in that little bit of time, we did get a little bit of all right action for what it was. But you see, that's the thing I dread about these beat the clock challenges, is especially when it comes to a short time. So, but congratulations to Charlotte Flair. She now there's the new time to beat, so there's only one match left in the Beat the Clock Challenge. And, of course, that's the final member of Team PCB, which is, of course, Paige. So how did she do? You're going to have to wait and find out. So I was originally going to give this a dud, but I'm going to be very generous and give this a quarter to maybe half a star. So, and I'm just being very generous here. So with that being said, Fletcher, I give it to you.
I gotta say quarter star. I'll say quarter star as well. I thought what happened was it was phenomenal. I mean, Charlotte Flair beat the clock and did it. She basically beat Becky Lynch's time and literally almost cut it in half. That's ridiculous, man. That's crazy. Unbelievable. She basically took the 321 and cut it in half to basically $140. Good luck, Paige, if you're going to try to beat that in 100 seconds. Because that's basically what it is. Actually, if I stand corrected, Floyo, isn't it 141 that Paige had to beat the clock on the last fight?
No, it said
140.
140, so literally 100 seconds. Good luck. There's no way you can do it in 100 seconds. But, Paige is going to have to give it the old college try, and we'll see what happens. But I got to give it a quarter star, no doubt about it, just for the effort alone, and just for the sheer wow factor of how fast Charlotte Flair broke the time. Man, that was ridiculous. So, it's yours, Florio.
Quarter to half a star. I definitely agree, although I have every right to call it a dud myself. But you guys convinced me. I was originally going to call it a dud, but you boys convinced me. So way, way, way too short. But, the action, even though it was only 1:40, I mean, it definitely was good for what we got. And Charlotte wins it with a very, very interesting maneuver there. It was not the figure eight. It was not her Charlotte's Web. It was just this little finishing type move out of nowhere, and she gets the win. So Charlotte, now the flag bearer for Paige. Paige has to beat her opponent in 1:40, and we'll get to that in a little while. So with that said, we're just going to move on to our next matchup here. And oh boy, boys, we go from the beauties to the beasts, and we're going to have a lot of fun with this one. Oh, we're going to have a lot of fun with this one. I hope you boys like Be a Man fights, because this is exactly what we got here. This was the second of our 2 SummerSlam rematches. It was Kevin Owens going up against the Swiss Superman Cesaro. The winner of the match in 16 minutes and 5 seconds. Fight Owens, fight. Kevin Owens does it again. And Michael Fletcher, the luck of the draw, smiles on you, sir. You get to lead it off.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fight of the night.
Amen.
Excellent match. Excellent fight. 16 minutes of pure knockdown, drag out, basically ground and pound in your face. Strong style for Derek Ferreira. Be a man fight. That's what this fight was. And this is what we got. Gentlemen, I'm going to pull the trigger. 3 to 3.5 stars. This was freaking awesome. I loved it. It had a great psychology. The story was great. The action was hard-hitting, hard-filled, like it's always been. Fight Owens fight versus the Cesaro section. And yes, I believe we did indeed have a Cesaro swing in the house tonight. But, I mean, it was excellent, to say the very least. For me, fight of the night, 3 to 3.5 stars. Anthony, go.
3.25 to 3.5 stars, Michael Fletcher, and I do 100% agree with you. It was the fight of the night. I mean, yeah, just as good, if not better, than the match they had at SummerSlam. I mean, that was a very good match too. But 16 minutes and 5 seconds. Yeah, these two definitely got some time, and a very well-worked match, a great match for those of you who love the Be a Man style, and that's exactly what we got. It was a hard-hitting, smash-mouth, physical match, right up Michael Fletcher's alley. We all know how much he loves these Be a Man fights, and I know he was grinning like the Cheshire Cat from ear to ear, seeing this match play out. What a match it was, and yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, I don't think we've seen the last between these two. I think this feud's going to go on a little longer. I don't know if it's going to lead to something at Night of Champions. I don't know. We'll see. But for right now, man, fantastic match. I don't know which match was better. Was it this match tonight, or was it the match they had at SummerSlam? I don't know. So with that, 3.25 to 3.5 stars. That's the correct rating for this bout. And Michael Fletcher is 100% correct. This was far and away the fight of the night. So there's nothing left to say here. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this fight of the night matchup?
Yes, this definitely was the fight of the night. I'll say 3.25 to 3.5 stars as well. I mean, this was definitely another Be a Man fight here, and definitely another good match, a really good match between these two. And I'll be quite honest with you. I thought this this was just a smidget better than their encounter at SummerSlam. But the thing is that, and the thing I recognize, there were more Kevin Owens fans than Cesaro fans, because we didn't see a lot of the Cesaro section signs around the building tonight. I mean, we saw basically maybe one or two, but that was it. But yeah, I mean, you gotta love the effort from both of these guys. I mean, especially Cesaro with some of the power moves that he does. But man, this was a damn good match, and don't be surprised we get another match between these two. I think this rivalry between these two is far, far from over. Maybe we get another match at Night of Champions. I don't know. But this was definitely another good match between these two. 3 1/4, 3.5 stars. So, with that being said, Florio, let's move on.
And move on we will. We're going to move on to our next matchup here on this Monday Night Raw review here. And, yeah, we had that, more of that, we had that backstage stuff with Ziggler and Lana. We're not going to get into that. We'll get into that again soon enough. It's a 2-for-1 deal here. We had an in-ring promo with the Wyatt family, and then it led into the next matchup, which was Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman, the newest member of the Wyatt family, makes his debut as he goes one-on-one with the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose, and the winner of the match, via disqualification in 3 minutes and 20 seconds, it was Braun Strowman due to outside interference by Roman Reigns. So it's a 2-for-1. We're going to talk about the promo and then the match itself. So the promo was very good. I mean, Wyatt delivers another great promo, and we actually got to hear Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman speaks for the first time. So another one of the segments of the night. I mean, I could probably say it's between that second and third best segment of the night, along with that opening segment with Sting. But it was I thought it was still a very good segment. I mean, another great promo by Wyatt, and I'll tell you what. I mean, Michael Fletcher got to experience that entrance, the Wyatt entrance with the Fireflies back in April when he went to the SmackDown in Providence. I got to go there last week, as you all know, and man, oh man, that's a sight to see. And I also got to see pretty, not really up close and personal, but I did get to see Braun Strowman. And television does not do him justice, folks. This man is a freak of nature. 6'8", 385 pounds of hard-hitting muscle, and he used to do those strongman contests, all of the Arnold Schwarzenegger strongman classics. I mean, he used to, I told you about that last week. So, yeah, formerly of NXT. So, but I tell you what, I mean, the match may be an NA, yeah, this is I'm gonna consider this an NA because we had a DQ finish here. But I tell you what, I was actually impressed by Braun Strowman. I mean, Strowman had some good moves in there. He showed off some good power moves, some good big man moves, and yeah, I definitely like some of the things he did in that match. I mean, physicality and the smash mouth that he showed. Yeah, I told Michael Bullock this earlier when we were doing our thing there. I said it to him, and I know he'll reiterate it when I get to him. Within the next few years, because we all know how much Big Magma loves those big, strong, muscle-bound dudes, which Braun Strowman is. These freaks. I guarantee you, within the next several years. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I guarantee you, within the next several years, I strongly believe Braun Strowman has what it takes to be a future champion in WWE. Which belt? I don't know. Could it be the Intercontinental belt? Could it be the U.S. belt? Or could it even be the Championship of the World? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. But because of the finish, it's an NA, but Braun Strowman, to me, thoroughly impressed me tonight. Definitely loved his body of work. He looked really good tonight. I don't care what anybody says. So with that said, Michael Bullock, you felt the same way I did about this fight. So your thoughts on the promo and the match, and how did Braun Strowman look to you?
Yeah, as far as the match goes, I'm gonna say this was an NA because of the DQ finish in that short amount of time. But yeah, and the promo, I'll say it was the third best segment of the night. I mean, Bray Wyatt, what can you say? He's money on the mic as always. They're, as I like to say, the best talker out there. And we actually got to hear from Braun Strowman, and boy, he looked creepy in that little promo that he gave. Um, yeah, and I thought Strowman looked really good in his debut, and he's big, he's powerful, 385 pounds, and he tossed Dean Ambrose around like he was a freaking cruiserweight. And Dean Ambrose is no cruiserweight, and yeah, we did get that little bit of interference at the from Roman Reigns, and you just saw the way he manhandled Roman Reigns at the end of that match. I mean, it was just, I mean, he was basically tossing him around like a rag doll, and then you see Dean Ambrose come in and hit him with a chair, and it didn't even faze him. So, I mean, he was basically taking him out until, of course, Harper and Wyatt did come in and basically finish off what Braun Strowman started. And I'll tell you what, somewhere down the line, he could be a future champion. Could it be Intercontinental? Could it be the actual WWE World Heavyweight Championship? Could it be the U.S. title? I don't know, but I'm really impressed with Braun Strowman in his first match. So I expect a lot of things down the road for Mr. Braun Strowman. So match was in NA. The promo I thought was better, and all I can say is a nice debut for Mr. Braun Strowman. So Fletcher, I give it to you.
NA for me, I agree with that. Strowman, I mean, he's a big boy, man. I mean, this guy front median line that you would need just to move around some people. But I'm impressed with what I saw, and but I'm not really ready to anoint him future champion in WWE, because a lot of the times, sometimes you've seen some big guys and they end up not really panning out to be anything special either. So I mean, let's pump the brakes before anything else. Let's see what this guy got to bring to the table, and then we'll see one way or another, yes or no, about a future championship. Other than that, right now, I like what I see. NA for the fight, and let's move on.
All right. Next up on this Monday Night Raw review, there was another backstage moment. We're not going to get into that. Okay, the third and final match of the Divas Beat the Clock challenge. It was Paige of PCB going up against the favorite girl of Michael Fletcher and his 2184 crew mentor Bill McConnell, the former NXT Women's Champion Sasha Banks. Paige had to beat her in 1 minute and 40 seconds. She did not do it. And with that, you know what that means. The number one contender and the one who will face Nikki Bella for the Divas Championship at the Night of Champions, none other than Charlotte Flair. So, woo is right, Michael Bullock. Woo is right. So, and I believe you lead off on this one. So Michael Bullock, your thoughts on Paige and Sasha Banks, and also your early thoughts on Charlotte and Nikki Bella at Night of Champions.
All right, as far as the match goes, because the match ended when Paige didn't beat the time, I'm gonna have to give it an A. I mean, we did get some action during that short amount of time, but of course, once it got to the zero, the match was basically done just like that. So I'm gonna have to give it an NA as far as it goes. So And as far as now with it being Charlotte against Nikki Bella for the Divas Championship, this is something I'm definitely looking forward to seeing. And of course, the question on everyone's mind is, can Charlotte end the long reign of Nikki Bella as the Divas champion? And the answer to that question, I think, is going to be a solid and yes, 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 yes. Because I'll tell you what, at that point, Nikki Bella will have surpassed AJ Lee as the longest reigning Divas champion ever. And you kind of figure once she gets to that, you know they're going to have her drop the belt, and it's going to be Charlotte that ends up wearing the Divas Championship. And I think it should be a solid match for what I think it's going to be, because I mean I love the body of work of Charlotte, and Nikki Bella has been getting better as of late. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But either way, I know this is too early for me to predict, but I think Charlotte's going to become the new Divas champion. So, NA on the fight. Fletcher, it's yours.
Yeah, it's an NA for me as well because the fight ended after the buzzer sounded. So yeah, there was really nothing more to say about that. I mean, Sasha Banks, they're really limiting her because of the fact that even though she's admitted or has gone out on the record and said that no, she didn't get hurt on the NXT TakeOver fight that was in Brooklyn. She did take a real nasty bump, and I really think that what they're going to try to do is let her ease herself back into the fray and everything else. But I mean, everybody wanted it to see Sasha last week in Brooklyn. Didn't happen. So now this week they're going to ease her back in a little bit. So we're not going to see much of Sasha, however, because, I mean, she deserves a little bit of time off and maybe try to ease her back in, because you don't really know, because she did take if you saw the replay, she took a header on that move. Her head bounced off the mat, and there was some rumors going around maybe that she suffered a concussion or everything else. And Sasha came out on Twitter and told her legion of ballers out there, telling her, "Nah, I'm good. I'm just doing boss work, because I'm not worried about no injuries, no nothing like that." She was basically stamping checks, working her business like a boss, and that's all you need to know about that. So that was basically her saying, "No, I'm not hurt. They're just giving me a little bit of some R&R, some time off," which she probably deserved, because damn it to hell, she put a 5-star classic with Bayley and in my opinion, the WWE/NXT wrestling form fight of the year for 2015. So I mean, they'll give her a little bit of some time, and this was just to ease her back in. It was good for what it was worth. It was an NA for me. Now, as far as Charlotte Flair getting the opportunity, I mean, we knew it was going to happen. There's no big surprise with her getting the title shot. And yes, we heard the rumors about her possibly being the one to upend Nikki Bella and winning the belt. But, and here's the big but, are they going to do it? I want to say yes, they're gonna give her the moment and they're gonna give her the title. But the thing that I'm concerned about is that I don't know if you guys know this. Well, I'm telling the fans. Anthony knows it and Mike Bullock knows it. But according to a dirt sheet, Nikki Bella was not supposed to be champion for this long. She was supposed to lose the belt, I believe they said about a few months ago. When the Diva Revolution began, Charlotte Flair was supposed to be the first one in, challenge Nikki Bella for the belt, and take the belt off her. And that would have led the Revolution with all the others to jump in. But because of Super Cena, of all people, to stick his nose where it didn't belong, his girl is still the champion. And as much as John Cena does some great things, this is the one moment that really got me upset and almost had me on the verge of pulling the Cerebral Viper out tonight, but I won't. But, there's really nothing else to say. We're just going to leave it at that. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, matches in NA, I definitely agree with you guys on that. I probably would have to say worst fight of the night, to be honest with you, because, it ended so abruptly. I mean, I wish they would have kept the thing going, even if Paige didn't beat the clock. But then again, Fletch is right about Sasha Banks. I mean, we all remember, when Bayley did that unbelievable that reverse Hurricane Rana on her NXT TakeOver. I mean, my goodness. I mean, yeah, the match that everybody's still talking about to this day. I mean, and rightly so. I mean, 5-star classic and the greatest women's wrestling match that we've ever seen. So, oh man. Strongly suggest you all watch it on the network if you haven't already. I mean, my goodness, what a match it was. And it's a match that the three of us still cannot get out of our heads. I mean, we knew it was going to be good. We didn't think it was going to be that good. My goodness. And when I was at the taping last week, there were a lot of "We Want Sasha" chants. I will tell you that right now. There were a lot of "We Want Sasha" chants. I'll tell you that. That shows you how very highly the IWC and other wrestling fans think of this young lady, and rightly so. But we'll see her in all her glory soon enough. So Fletch, you and your boy, Mr. McConnell there. I know you boys are definitely waiting for the day that we get to see her fully back in her element. But nonetheless, I'm not at all surprised that Charlotte and Nikki Bella are going to go at it at the Night of Champions. I mean, you've heard me go on this show numerous times since the Revolution started the night after just around Battleground, when it started. I said that Charlotte Flair was going to be the one who was going to not only going to fight Nikki Bella, but also take the title off of her. And Michael Fletcher brings up a great point. I read that same dirt sheet. I know Michael Bullock has read it. He read it as well. And we read that dirt sheet saying that Nikki Bella's boyfriend, of course, the Golden Boy himself, the almighty John Cena, we all know he was the one who pretty much put the kibosh and had to be a buzzkill on this. And personally, I think he's the reason for why Nikki Bella's been the champ for dear this long. I mean, to be quite honest, I mean, the one who really should have taken it off of her was Naomi. Right around the time of Extreme Rules, right around that time, if I'm being honest. But now, in a way, I'm kind of glad they held off, because I'm really hoping that Charlotte Flair is the one who does it. I mean, you know how high up on this young lady I am, and not just because of her amazing ability, but also because of course, her being the daughter of course, my man, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. And I tell you what, I mean, picture this, guys. Houston, Texas, the Toyota Center, 19 days from now that we are in the month of September now, as we are just after midnight here on the East Coast. But think about this, guys. Charlotte Flair wins the title. Who says we can't have another one? Who says we can't have maybe the most emotional father-daughter moment of all? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get that special moment, that special father-daughter moment with Charlotte and her dad and Nature Boy Ric Flair. I mean, my goodness, what a moment that would be if Charlotte does go over and win the title, which I think they should. But,
and also remember, Texas is very notorious for Ric Flair. I mean, he has some of the greatest fights, especially with the Von Erichs. If you remember back in the old Cowboy Stadium in Irving, Texas, way back in the day. So I mean, it would be basically full circle for Ric Flair if his daughter should win her first ever WWE Divas Championship or Women's Championship in Texas. I mean, it would be perfect.
It certainly would, and Fletch makes a great point. I mean, a lot of great moments were in the state of Texas for Ric Flair, even though there was one infamous moment, of course, when he lost the NWA World Heavyweight Championship to the late, great Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, in the old Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. Yeah, Fletch makes a great point. I mean, as part of the World Class Championship Wrestling taping. And yeah, and Houston, Texas is the site, the Toyota Center. That's where the Night of Champions will be held on the 20th of this month. So yeah, we're definitely looking forward to seeing how that all goes down. And I tell you what.
Yeah, but the only thing I'm concerned about is what Fletcher basically just talked about. I mean, as we talked about, favoritism, and you know how much I hate favoritism.
And politics.
I don't like it. I mean, especially when Nikki Bella is dating John Cena. And I'll tell you what, if John Cena goes that route again and has them favor Nikki Bella and Charlotte doesn't win it, watch out. The Phenom's going to come out in a big way. Maybe a little PG way, but I know Anthony Florio, he's going to go off NC-17 because I hate favoritism. I hate it so much, and that's the thing that irks me so much about when it comes to WWE, favoritism. Right. And if they go this route again, I am going to be one pissed off son of a bitch.
Amen, Bullock. Amen to that. And I'll also say like this. I mean, politics, man. It's not just favoritism. It's also politics too. Backstage politics. So that's how a lot of these things have gone down. I mean, you've heard us. It's been well documented. I mean, it's not just Nikki Bella nowadays, but of course the two other great examples in the WWE of favoritism and backstage politics. Of course, one being Triple H, of course, because of his marriage to Stephanie. Everybody knows that, and that's why he won the World Heavyweight Championship and held it as long as he did. And then on top of that, how about your boy's wife, Mr. Bullock, the Undertaker's lady, Michelle McCool? I mean, look at all the times she won the Divas Championship and held it, for God's sake. You remember that?
Yeah, and this isn't the first time the Bellas have done something like this. I mean, there are other divas that we've wanted to basically get pushed over and have been buried because of the Bellas. I mean, talk about your girl, Natalya.
Right?
She's been a victim of that.
Perfect example. I mean, who'll ever forget that Memorial Day, I believe it was in 2012 or 13, that Memorial Day show when Natalya lost on her birthday in her hometown of Calgary to the Bellas in that handicap.
And that really pissed off Anthony Florio and everybody in the IWC.
You damn right, Mr. Ball. You damn right. And I'll tell you what, that was.
And if they go that route with Charlotte Flair, can you imagine what Ric Flair will be like? He'll go Ric Flair crazy.
I don't know if he'll go Ric Flair crazy. I mean, you got to understand the business and everything else, but if they do it in a way where Charlotte gets screwed over the belt, then and only then you're going to see Ric Flair go crazy. And then, of course, the IWC is absolutely going to go insane. But if it's a clean victory, you can't really make much of an argument here or make a big stink about it.
Yeah, that's true. But as the old saying, time will tell, and we'll find out on September the 20th at the Night of Champions in Houston, Texas, in the Toyota Center, when Nikki Bella defends the Divas Championship against Charlotte Flair. And by that time, Nikki Bella will have been champion for it'll be her 301st day as Divas Champion. That will already surpass AJ Lee, and they'll get her over 300. So and on that night, I really hope in my heart of hearts, praying to the good Lord above, enough will be enough, and they'll finally take that title off of Nikki Bella and give it to someone who I think deserves it a lot more, and that's Charlotte Flair. Simple as that. So, but we'll have to wait and see. We got a long way to go, so we'll see how this all plays out. On Raw and SmackDown and all this over the next couple of weeks. So, okay. So, with that said, we're just gonna move on to what we had next. Well, it was our final match of this when it comes to the in-ring, to the wrestling matches. It was a non-title matchup. It was the New Day, Big E Langston and Kofi Kingston representing with Xavier Woods in their corner, going up against, this is for you, Michael Fletcher, those damn Dudleys. And the winners of the match in 12 minutes and 40 seconds. Bubba Ray and Devon, the Dudley Boys, and Michael Bullock. What do we say about this?
Oh, my brother! Oh, testify!
Oh, my brother, testify indeed. Bubba Ray and Devon, those damn Dudleys, they get the win. 12 minutes and 40 seconds is the time of the fall. And I believe it's Fletcher leads off on this one, correct?
Yes, it is.
All right, Michael Fletcher, your thoughts on those damn Dudleys. What do you think?
You know what? Can I just say it right now? The new #1 contender for the WWE Tag Team Championship. Can I get an amen with that?
Amen.
Amen!
All right, well there you go, because they beat the champions tonight. Did it clean, nice victory for them. I'll give it a solid 2.5 to 3 star fight. I mean, it was a very good match to say the very least. Very impressed with what they've done, and they still got it, man. The Dudley Boys are still got it. They do all their routines to a crisp. The fans definitely will get into it, and they've always embraced the Dudleys, man. After they did that shocking return 1 week ago in Brooklyn, New York, that sent a lot of people into mass hysteria, sent the crowd into an absolute tizzy. Then the next thing you know, now they do what they gotta do. They do their work. They do their job. They win. They get the job done. They're the new #1 contender, at least in my eyes, for the Tag Team Championship. So from there on in, we'll wait and see what happens. But I definitely like what I see, and at the end of the day, it's going to be a very interesting situation. Now the thing is, does WWE pull the trigger and give the Dudleys the tag team titles and make them the 25-time world tag team champions? Because I think, didn't JBL said they're like 24-time champions with all the accolades?
Yep.
This would be the 25th tag team championship reign if they do it. And let's be realistic. Those damn Dudleys is the greatest tag team in professional wrestling history. ECW, WCW, WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, IWGP, and TNA Tag Team Champions. They've been tag champions in 5 organizations. Nobody in the world can say that. Nobody can say that. So, for me, definitely a solid fight. About 2.5 to 3 is my rating. Florio, go.
2.5 to 3 stars, and I'll say it was, for my taste, the second best fight of the night because we had a clean finish, unlike the Ziggler and Rusev fight. That's my third best fight of the night, but second best fight of the night here. 2.5 to 3 stars, 12 minutes and 40 seconds, and those damn Dudleys did it again. And I'm looking it up right here on their on the Wikipedia there. In their illustrious tag team championships. Of course, you know this better than anybody, Michael Fletcher. 8 times ECW World Tag Team Champions. You know that better than anybody. You and Derek Ferrera. I mean, I'm pretty sure you probably saw all 8 of those title wins, I'm sure. And then they were also 1-time Hustle Super Tag Team Champions, 2-time IWGP Tag Team Champions, courtesy of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Squared Circle Wrestling, they won the 2 CW Tag Team titles. That was a one-timer as well. So as of now, I've got 12. 1-time NWA World Tag Team Champions, courtesy of the TNA, and then of course TNA Tag Team Champions on 2 occasions. So that gets a total of I believe that's 15 right there. And then actually, I think they're at 25 right now because they held the SmackDown version of the WWE Tag Team Championship right around 2004 or so when they beat Charlie Haas and Rico on that SmackDown in Chicago, Illinois. summer of 2004. I remember watching that fight. It's listed World Tag Team Championship 8 times, and of course, 1 time co-holders of the WCW World Tag Team Championship. Of course, we all remember that was during the Invasion angle. So there you have it. But nonetheless, the most decorated tag team of all time, and there's no question about it. They are going to be the #1 contenders. It may not be official yet, but I think we can pretty much pencil this in for the Night of Champions in Houston. The Dudley Boys will be challenging the New Day for the WWE Tag Team Championship. And I'll tell you what, I mean, should be a very good matchup here. And I'll even go one further. You saw how, the New Day were freaking out about tables and whatnot and everything else. Why not make this a tables match? Think about it. I mean, the New Day don't want to be put through tables. They talked about how tables should be saved, and they said there's only one last table here, and they covered it in bubble wrap, for goodness sakes. So yeah, we're definitely going to look into that. No question about that. So but for me, in my taste, I know it's maybe wishful thinking, but given the storyline and the way they're going with this, I wouldn't be surprised if we see these two teams go at it at Night of Champions in a tables match. That's all there is to say about that. So we'll see how this goes. But remember, there's another wild card in this whole thing. They were on commentary during the match. The former tag team champions, Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, the primetime players. They have a very vested interest, at the very least. They got a rematch clause, gentlemen. But who knows? They could invoke that thing maybe tomorrow night on SmackDown, maybe on a future Raw or future SmackDown. But I don't see it being at Night of Champions. I think that's going to be straight up Dudley's and New Day. And if that's the case, which I think it will be, I fully expect that to be a tables match. Hey, I've been right about these bold predictions so far, and there's a certain bold prediction that Mr. Bullock's gonna, give me the bragging rights, and rightly so, because I called this bold prediction earlier during our pre-Raw chat, which it expanded into the show, obviously. So get ready for that, Mr. Bullock. So with that said, 2.5 to 3 stars. It's the second best fight of the night. So Michael Bullock, your thoughts on those damn Dudleys and the New Day? A little preview of things to come.
Yeah, 2.5 to 3 stars is my rating. I do agree. It is the second best fight of the night. The match was really good. I mean, and the Dudleys, they proved they still got it. And the match was good for what it was. And yes, they hit that the famous 3D. They get the win, and just when it looked like they were gonna put Big E through the table, the New Day pulls them out, and yeah, I do get this feeling it's going to be some kind of a tables match at Night of Champions for the Tag Team Championships. And yeah, the primetime players were basically on commentary, and they're going to get their rematch, but I don't think it'll be at Night of Champions. I think it's going to be at probably at some point before that, maybe on a Raw or SmackDown. We'll have to wait and see on that, but definitely was the second best fight of the night. 2.5 to 3 stars, and I'll say it again, like I said. Oh my brother, oh Chester fine. Move on, Florio.
And we are going to move on to the final segment of the night. It was the WWE World Heavyweight and United States Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, basically calling out Sting and looking for his little statue there. He would be interrupted, quite interestingly. First, he would be interrupted by, of course, the co-leader of the Authority, the $1 billion princess, Stephanie McMahon, who looked unbelievable as always, stunning, to say the very least. And then from there, he would also be interrupted by John Cena. And there's nothing left for me to say on this except this was the segment of the night. I saw Seth Rollins cut one of his best heel promos at the SmackDown taping in Providence last week. I mean, say what you want about his smarky heel promos, but the promo he cut on Sting at the SmackDown taping when I went to that last week, I honestly got to admit, that was one of his best heel promos that I've ever heard. I mean, I absolutely loved it. I thought that was a fantastic promo he cut when I was there last week. And this one was just as good, if not better. I mean, the intensity that he showed, I mean, his promos have been getting a lot. Have been really, really good as of late. And I thought this one actually topped the one I saw last week. So that's all I can say on that. Just simply amazing. And then Stephanie comes out and says, well, don't ever. And then she's like, watch your words, because you're talking about my husband, Triple H. And she's like, yo, you're letting Sting get into your head, you know. You're supposed to be the man around here. You're supposed to, you know, not let this, you know, you're better than this. And then Rollins, you know, went all intended. You're like, you know what, you're right. You're right, Steph. He's like, Sting, get your ass out here. I want to know where my statue is, and I want to know where it is now. You don't get Sting again. As if Stephanie wasn't enough. You get the champ. You get John Cena. Cena shows up, and then he's like, well, let me tell you something. You better watch yourself when it comes to the Authority. I mean, because they're like, you know what? They don't care about you. The best for business is all about them. They don't give a damn about you. They only picked you because they felt you were the guy who would most likely turn on your brothers in the Shield. And then he also went as far as to say, well, look what they did to Randy Orton. Look what they did to Dave Bautista. Look what they did to Kane. So, he's like, and who knows? Within the next few months, the latest flavor of the month, Seth Rollins. So, but then, and now you're probably saying, okay, Floyd, what's this bold prediction you were talking about with Michael Bullock during your little pre-Raw chat? Well, here it comes. This is a new tradition of ours since we started doing our pre-Raw chat a few months back. There's a segment on the actual Raw pre-show on the WWE Network, you know, with Scott Stanford, Corey Graves, and David Otunga. Near the end of the show, they give their bold predictions as to what could happen during the show. Michael Bullock's bold prediction was he thought Kane was going to come back tonight. And I actually came across a little dirt sheet about Kane in just a little bit. I'll share that at the end of the show. But my bold prediction was John Cena was going to show up and he was going to challenge Seth Rollins. He was going to invoke his rematch clause and challenge Seth Rollins for the United States Heavyweight Championship at the Night of Champions. Did I call this, gentlemen? Or should I say, Mr. Bullock?
Yes, you did call it.
Do you believe I had that one?
Yeah, you certainly had this one.
All right. I'm glad you remembered. So, yes, I believe I had this one. I said that John Cena was going to challenge Seth Rollins for the U.S. title at the Night of Champions. And lo and behold, I was right. Stephanie McMahon made it official. He asked Stephanie, do I have the match? Do I have my rematch with Seth Rollins for the U.S. title at Night of Champions? And Stephanie said it as cute and sweet as she could in one little word. Yes. So it's on. John Cena, Seth Rollins, United States Heavyweight Championship at the Night of Champions. Oh, my. Segment of the night. I mean, this was a really good segment. I mean, everybody was great. Rollins continues to get better with his heel promos. I mean, I said I enjoyed the one last week, but I think this one topped it. I'm going to be quite honest with you. And then Stephanie was amazing as usual. And then John Cena with his usual intensity. And then Steph makes the match official. Cena walks back up the ramp. And shortly after, who comes down and joins him on the ramp? The Stinger. What a sight, huh, guys? Look at that sight. On one side, the man who dominated the 90s and into the 2000s, the icon Sting, the vigilante. And on the other side, you got the man who dominated the 2000s and 2010s in John Cena. What a sight to see. Two of the all-time greats. Sting, of course, the very first inductee into the TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame. I strongly believe he will be in the WWE Hall of Fame when all is said and done. Of course, same can be said for John Cena whenever he decides to hang it up, which will probably be by the time he's as old as Ric Flair, for God's sake, how he's going. So, oh, man. What a great way to conclude what was a solid but not really all that spectacular edition of Monday Night Raw, to say the very least. So look at it, guys. Night of Champions. Seth Rollins is going to be pulling double duty. Seth Rollins will be defending the U.S. Heavyweight title against John Cena and the WWE World Heavyweight title against Sting. On top of Charlotte Flair challenging Nikki Bella for the Divas belt. Most likely the Dudleys, those damn Dudleys against the New Day. What I feel will be a tables match for the tag team titles. And then of course, we just have to figure out who's going to challenge Ryback for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. My early projection is The Miz, but we'll have to wait and see. And then who knows what else they could add to the card. Maybe something with Ziggler and Rusev, Lana and Summer Rae. I don't know. We'll have to look into that. Maybe another match with Orton and Sheamus. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. But oh, man. If your excitement level for Night of Champions wasn't raised already, well, I think it just got raised big time after the announcement tonight. So, my. What a way to end the night. So, no question about it. This was the segment of the night. So, nothing left to say here. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this segment of the night, and also your thoughts as to John Cena going up against Seth Rollins for the U.S. title, which I called. Oh, by the way. How's that for a bold prediction, huh?
Yes, that bold prediction Florio gave to me before Monday Night Raw started basically came true. So, yeah, as far as this segment goes, this was the segment of the night. Of course, Seth Rollins basically cutting a promo saying that he was going to call out Sting and basically just say, "Where the heck is my statue?" And then all of a sudden, here comes Stephanie McMahon saying, "Well, don't you ever talk about my husband Triple H like that," saying that you're better than him. And the thing is, you are the man. And the reason why is because you have the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and the United States Championship. That makes you the man. And Seth Rollins did agree. And then he basically, once again, tries to call Sting out. Where the heck is my statue? And then out comes John Cena. And he's basically saying be careful, because the Authority, they just may end up dumping you because, because just take a look at an example. Look what happened with Randy Orton. They dubbed him the face of the WWE. What happened? They kicked him to the curb. Look what happened to Dave Bautista. Look what happened to Kane. They don't care about you. They only care about themselves and what's best for business. They handpicked you because they thought you were the man that was going to turn on the Shield. So, basically, you're going to, in a few months, you could become the next flavor of the month. So, and then he says he wants that shot at the United States Championship, and Seth Rollins, you can hear him saying that's not going to happen. But so John Cena asked Stephanie, and she said yes. So we got the match, Night of Champions, John Cena, Seth Rollins for the United States Heavyweight Championship. So Seth Rollins is going to be fighting in 2 matches on the same night. He'll be defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Sting and defend the WWE United States Heavyweight Championship against John Cena. So, yeah, as far as that match goes, I think it's going to be another solid, very good match. Of course, we saw that at SummerSlam, but it could have gotten a much higher rating if we didn't have that overbooked finish with Jon Stewart basically interfering. So, and then just at the end of that, just to see, well, as John Cena goes to the ramp, out comes Sting, and boy, what a sight that is. To see John Cena and Sting on the same ramp together. I mean, you have the man who ruled the 80s and 90s in WCW along with the current golden boy of the WWE today in John Cena. Man, what a sight that is. So, Yeah, so this was the segment of the night which concluded, and I do agree, it was a solid but unspectacular edition of Raw, and I'll give you my rating for it once we get to our overall thoughts on the show. So, with that being said, Fletcher, your thoughts on the segment?
I'll say this. This was a solid segment. It was good for what it was worth, but my goodness, what a shocker. Uh I don't think Seth Rollins had any idea that John Cena was gonna come out and issue the open challenge and basically re-challenge him, utilize his rematch clause for the United States title. That was the one thing I think none of us thought was going to happen, but it did. It happened. The next thing we know, uh, Stephanie McMahon basically melted under the pressure and said, "All right, Cena, you got your rematch," and sent Seth Rollins into quite a rage. Uh, well, I'll make this bold prediction right now. Seth Rollins is going in champion, coming out a loser. He's gonna lose both belts at the Night of Champions. He will go from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. He's gonna cough up both belts. The United States Heavyweight Champion is going to once again be John Cena. Gentlemen, get ready for more John Cena open challenges. And as far as the WWE World Heavyweight Championship goes, I'm calling it right now. Sheamus will be the champion. When Sting wins the belt, Sheamus will cash in the money in the bank, and Sheamus will be walking out with the title. Bold predictions, gentlemen. Book it. Florio, it's yours.
Wow, that's a damn good bold prediction there, Fletch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Michael Fletcher may not be with us on our pre-Raw chats or our Raw chats with Bullet, but I'll tell you what, I mean, that's as bold of a prediction as you can get right there. I mean, already calling that Seth Rollins will lose both titles at Night of Champions. Very possible. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. So, all right. It's now time for our overall thoughts on this edition of Monday Night Raw. And so with that said, Michael Bullock, start it off.
All right, I'm gonna give this the passable rating. I'm gonna give it 7 out of 10. I thought this was like I said, a solid but unspectacular edition of Raw because, well, I mean, you had some good fights. You had the fight of the night being of course Kevin Owens and Cesaro. You also had a good tag team match with a good tag team match with the Dudleys and the New Day, and you had some solid promos. Of course, the Sting promo, the Wyatt family promo, and of course what happened at the end of the night with John Cena, Stephanie McMahon, and Seth Rollins, and then of course that sight of John Cena and Sting on the ramp together, and that you had an all right match with the first of the three beat the clock challenges. Oh yeah, and of course the sleeper fight of the night being the Big Show and Ryback, but everything else was pretty much an NA. So I'll give it a solid 7 out of 10. So Fletcher, I give it to you.
I kind of gonna go a little lower, not by much. I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. I thought it was good for what it was worth. I thought it was a solid show, but it was more newsworthy than anything else. But it was very unspectacular. I mean, they kind of needed to give us a breathe type of a moment more than anything else because, I mean, the entire weekend last weekend was so red hot. The momentum was so high that this is kind of a cool off week, a cool off event more than anything else. So it was good for what it was worth, but I'm gonna give it only a 6.5 out of 10. Anthony, go.
I'll meet you boys halfway here. It's a solid 6.5 to 7 out of 10 for this edition of Monday Night Raw tonight. Um, Still, it was a solid show, but not overly spectacular. As far as the highlights go, fight of the night, most definitely it was Kevin Owens and Cesaro, 3.25 to 3.5 stars there. Second best fight, I'd have to say by a smidge, it was the Dudleys and the New Day, 2.5 to 3 there. Um, the I'm actually going to go a little different here. Well, no, the Ziggler and Rusev, that was a 2.5 star. That was the third best fight of the night. And then, of course, the sleeper fight of the night, we can't forget about it, right back in the Big Show. 2.5 stars in my book. Diva Revolution, those matches definitely were rushed. Damn shame. I mean, I know Divas Revolution's been taking a bit of a hit as of late from those in the IWC. Of course, Derek Ferrera went on a big-time rant in one of his sports blogs last week, if you didn't read it. And, yeah, those matches were definitely rushed. So hopefully that they can get back on track ASAP. So that was definitely the disappointment of the night was far and away those Diva fights. I mean, they were all way too short for my liking, in all honesty. But that's what happens when you have a beat-the-clock challenge. But I'm not disappointed with the outcome. I'm glad Charlotte Flair won that. I had her winning it all along, and I'm glad that she's the one who's going to get the shot at Nikki Bella at Night of Champions. And I'm hopeful that they give her the belt in Houston. That would be awesome. Let's hope so. Let's pray to the good Lord above that happens. So, and then, of course, all the in-ring segments. Well, those three fights, and then, of course, you also had that NA match with Braun Strowman and Dean Ambrose, even though Strowman looked amazing. Although Strowman looked great tonight. So the Divas and the Strowman and Ambrose fight were a little on the letdown side. And then, of course, then that cop-out finish with the Ziggler and Rusev, and then, of course, that ridiculous angle, which is right now bordering on TNA status right now. A certain angle in TNA. I'm not going to mention it because I don't want to have Fletcher relive that pain again. I'll mention it to him behind the scenes. But I'm not going to mention it to him on here. I'll just type it in the chat box. That's all I'll do. And although he may know where I'm going with this, because it kind of has that feeling right now. Although I hope I'm wrong about that. So.
Where are you going with this, Florio? What segment? I'm sorry. I've been a little bit on the
one from a few years ago. The one with AJ Styles.
Oh, no.
I got a bad feeling that it could border on that.
Uh-oh.
You know where I'm going with that.
I know where you're going with it now. Yep.
Okay.
I definitely know where.
Yeah.
If it's what I think it is, I don't think I want to know.
It was a real bad angle.
Horrific.
I mean, it almost damaged AJ's career. Like, it was that bad. It almost destroyed his career. That angle. So yeah, no, it was as bad as it got. And what happened was, should we tell him or should we just go behind the scenes with it?
I probably would say behind the scenes, maybe.
All right, we'll say we're behind the scenes. The IWC knows where we're going with it. We know they already know. The minute you said Claire Lynch, I'm like, oh no. So I already know. Those fans are probably rolling their eyes right now about they might throw their computers out the window right now because you just brought that up, Florio. But I know what you're talking about. Bullock, wait till after the show. Florio will fill you in on it. It was bad, real bad. Yeah, you're right about that, Florio.
Yeah, and feel free to help me out with that too, Fletch. But nonetheless, hopefully, well, I'm just saying with the way with that little extracurricular angle after the match with Ziggler and Rusev, I mean, that whole ridiculousness. Yeah. like I said, it'll be very interesting to see how the Miz TV turns out when we read the spoilers tomorrow night, and then we'll see how it plays out on TV on Thursday night. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then, of course, the angle after the match was a low light. That was the low light of the night for me. And then, of course, Diva Revolution, and then, of course, Strowman and Ambrose, even though Strowman looked good, if I'm being honest. And then the in-ring segments I thought were all good. All three in-ring segments were good. Of course, far and away, the best of those were, of course, the final segment with Rollins, Stephanie, and Cena. They all were amazing. And then the other segments came off good. The Sting promo and then the Wyatt promo before the match with Strowman and Ambrose. So it's definitely a 6.5 to 7 out of 10 for this show. A little step back, but still, I felt it was a solid enough addition. Also a newsworthy addition with those couple of additions to the Night of Champions card, which, according to the Wikipedia page, as of right now, is 3 matches official. Of course, Seth Rollins defending both of his titles. Of course, the U.S. title now against John Cena, the championship of the world against Sting, and then, of course, Charlotte and Nikki Bella for the Divas title. But we can fully expect the Dudleys to be going up against the New Day for the tag team titles. I think it's going to be a tables match myself, but we'll see. And then Ryback needs somebody to put the Intercontinental belt on the line against. My guess is The Miz, but we'll have to wait and see. So, a lot to think about, but nonetheless, solid, newsworthy. It was a solid and newsworthy show. Not as, amazing as, those 3 nights in Brooklyn, the TakeOver, the SummerSlam, and the Raw last week. So.
And I agree with Fletch on what he brought up. I mean, this was basically a cool down, especially after 3 great shows that we had last week in Brooklyn with the TakeOver special, and then of course SummerSlam, and of course last week's Raw. So maybe this was definitely maybe just a cool down period.
Yeah, certainly. And remember, next Monday night, guys, is also the last chance for Monday Night Raw to impress, because in 2 weeks it marks the return of their biggest threat. You know what that is.
Monday Night Football.
Doubleheader.
Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football makes its return in 2 weeks. But they're going to have stiff competition anyway next week, because there's a really big college football game next Monday night for Labor Day night, when your reigning, defending, inaugural college football playoff national champion Ohio State Buckeyes go up against the Hokies of Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. So think about that. Was there something you wanted to add, Fletch? Or I see you have your mic off. Oh, okay. But nonetheless, next Monday night on Raw, we'll have to wait and see what they do. It'll be at the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. So we'll have to wait and see for the first time since the Payback pay-per-view back on May 17th. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So they got one last week, even though, like I said, that Ohio State Virginia Tech game is going to be very compelling, to say the very least. So, all right, that'll put the bow on this edition of the Wrestling Forum. We thank you all so very much for tuning in, as always. Of course, you know what's coming up. We got our shout-outs. You know the routine on that. Mr. Bullock, you started off.
All right. Of course, we want to thank you all so very much for tuning in for another edition of the Wrestling Forum. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we definitely appreciate all the support. And of course, shout out to all the great fans out there who support our shows, whether it's this or Strictly Sports. And of course, shout out to our super fans, Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, Matt Ward, and of course Jason Hicksonball. Of course, shout outs, of course, to all of our friends from our high school days: Al Britterson, Jimmy Alden, Rob Parsons, Eric Carrier, Tom Souza. The First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Megan Silva, the First Lady of Strictly Sports, Kaisa Butler, of course, Derek Ferreira, the hardcore pipe bomb himself, couldn't be with us tonight. He had to be up early for some friends, family, relatives that had to be up early for school, and he obviously wants to be there for that. He did just post a blog on his review of Monday Night Raw on the sports blog, so definitely got to check that out. And yeah, so that's going to do it for me. I'll save the rest of my shout-outs Friday night for the return of Strictly Sports Presents College Football Friday. And all I can say is, boys, I cannot wait for Friday night when we take a look at the first game of the college football. So definitely looking forward to that. So until Friday night for the season premiere of Strictly Sports presents College Football Friday, this is the Phenom and the Vice President of the Rhode Island chapter of the Yes Movement, Mike Bullock, saying thank you all so much for listening to us. And of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Roll it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. And of course, enjoy the rest of your week. God bless. Be good to each other. Of course, Mike Bullock, so long. Fletcher, it's yours.
All right, thank you very much to all the great fans out there who listens to the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports. You guys already know, you guys are awesome as always. To all my good friends from the junior high and high school days, love you guys as always. To the 2184 crew, as you guys are the best. You guys know that. To the super fans, you know who you are. Special love and everything else to you guys as usual. And actually, I want to give a little special shout out to basically to 10 people who did my fantasy football league. We just did the league last night, which was actually spearheaded by the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the beautiful Miss Megan Silva, and a whole bunch of guys. And we got to chill out last night. We were doing the draft. I think I did okay. Megan won the draft, boys. You will not believe the team she's got. I'm going to talk to you behind the scenes. I did a Dinkelberg move, and I'm still kicking myself over it. I'm really ticked off at myself. But hopefully I'll get to redeem myself on Wednesday night. I know Floyer will talk about that in a little bit. Shout out to you guys as well. And then, of course, until then, you know the routine. It's Mike Fletcher, Husband Ham Pounds. I'm out. Good night. Florio, go.
All right. Of course, I want to thank you also very much for tuning in to this edition of the Wrestling Forum as usual. Of course, you are the best fans in the world. You appreciate it as always. Special shout out to all of our tremendous fans out there who continue to make the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports as ridiculously over as they are. Very much appreciated as always. Of course, our super fans, Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the entire Woodson family. Of course, last week, our good friend Kevin Woodson celebrated a birthday. So once again, a very happy birthday to Kevin Woodson on behalf of all of us here at the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports. And of course, in addition to them, of course, Matt Ward, Jason Nixonbaugh, Danny Luttrell. And I tell you what about Matt Ward, man. I mean, I bet he's on cloud nine because last night his man Jake Arrieta of the Chicago Cubs threw a no-hitter on Sunday Night Baseball, and I know Michael Bullock got a real treat out of that because of how much he loves his Sunday Night Baseball. And I know he probably loved it.
And I'm a happy camper too because he just got me a 1-2 topping medium pizza from Domino's because of that no-no.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I got it. I actually was one of the 20,000 that just won that free coupon. So thank you, Ionetta. Go Cubs.
Yeah. So I know Ward is probably still happy about that. I mean, oh man, these last few months for him have been unbelievable. The Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup one more time, and of course with how well his Cubbies are doing right now. I mean, boy howdy. I mean, the excitement level for Cubs baseball right now is for the first time in years off the page. So let's hope it. I'm really hoping we get to see them this fall when it comes to the postseason. But nonetheless. Also, in addition to Matt Ward, of course, Jason Nixonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, Megan Silva, Kaiser Butler, and then, of course, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Alvarado, Senator Parsons, and last but certainly not least, our original host, the creator of this show, and our Imperial Grand Poobah himself, the hardcore python, Derek Ferreira. Would have loved to have had him on tonight, but it is what it is. So I'll save the rest of my shout-outs for Friday night. And, gentlemen, Friday night, it's back. The return, the season premiere, season 2, Strictly Sports, College Football Friday. You like it, you love it, you want it to more of it. Well, you're going to get more of it. This Friday night, it returns. We're only going to preview the big top 25 games of Week 1 of the college football season. I really feel there's no need for a power rankings because it's the first week, but But the following week, on September 11th, boys, be prepared for power rankings. That's all I'm going to say on that. No need for them here because it's the first week and there's really no need for it. So, but we are going to preview our all the big top 25 games. There are quite a few doozies on here, if I do say so myself. So, and before I wrap it up, Michael Bullock, you informed me earlier that you said you might be coming in late on that. Michael Fletcher, I got to know from you: are you in or are you out?
Me? I'm in. I'm all in. No, I'm good.
Okay, so Michael Bullock proposed to me. Should he be coming in late because he's going to a very special Paw Sox game this Friday night. It's Special Olympics night, and Michael Bullock told me about that earlier during our chat, and he said that he might be coming in late. And if that's the case, he says that if you and I are doing the show, that we could start without him, and then we'll catch him up. So I'm sure I'm sure we're all agreed on that, right?
That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
So there you go, Bullock. We'll give you the time to catch up. You can come in late on Friday night, so no worries about that. But nonetheless, Fletch and I will be here. We'll start the show. Hope Derek Ferrer says he's up in the air, but really hoping to have him on. So that's all there is to say about that. So this Friday night, 10:30, the return of Strictly Sports College Football Friday, Week 1 preview extravaganza. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. No power rankings. But the power rankings will be back the following week in Week 2. As we'll pick our top 10 most impressive victors of Week 1, if I'm being honest. So, all right. So, and then, of course, next Monday night for the Wrestling Forum, obviously. So that'll do it. So until Friday night for the premiere of 60 Sports College Football Friday Season 2, it is Ridiculously Over Anthony Florio for the Cerebral Viper Michael Fletcher and the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, the Hardcore Pipe Bomb Derek Ferreira, saying, you know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Have a great rest of the week, everybody. And until Friday night, you've been watching the Wrestling Forum right here on Zone 25 on YouTube.com. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. And until next week, for now, Anthony Florio, so long.